Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David, and this is the illustrious Lisa.
Hi guys.
Today we're going to be talking about fun and balanced duel decks. Now these duel decks are all 2 colors, 60 cards, and perfectly balanced against any of the other decks within this series.
And best of all cards are under $1, so each deck costs an average of $11.
That's right, and today's deck is going to be House Dimir, which is blue and black.
Yeah, and its guild mechanic is Cipher, which means that if you cast a spell with Cipher on it, you may encode it onto another creature, and whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player, you may cast a copy of that spell for free.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's kind of like you play the card, you get the ability, then you're gonna like put it like an aura on that creature, kind of like that, and then when that creature deals damage, then you get to play the spell again, which is pretty sweet. So you could get it on the first turn 2 times the effect.
Yeah.
So the deck playstyle is going to be to limit our opponent's resources and their board state, and then we're going to be attacking our opponent with lots of unblockable creatures, which is pretty sweet. And I said creatures, so let's have a look at the creatures in this deck.
We start with the guild champion, Mirko Mind Drinker. He's a 2/4 for 5 flyer, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, that player mills cards until he's milled before it lands.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Mirko is awesome because, of course, the flying is great. He's got a good butt, can attack in the air, he's got evasion, and additionally, this deck likes to mill our opponent some cards, and this guy does it better than any other card in the entire deck.
Yeah. And then we have Triton Shore Stalker. He's a 1/1 for 1 with unblockable.
Yeah, very simple. You're going to want to put some cool enchantments or artifacts or equipment on this guy because he's always getting through.
Yeah. And then we have Una's Gate Warden, 2/1 for 1, flying defender, and she has Wither.
Yeah, now this girl is not good at attacking because she can't, but having a 2/1 flyer is pretty sweet on the defense, especially because of that Wither, because she deals damage in the form of -1/-1 counters, which means that even if she doesn't kill the creature that she blocked, she's still going to make sure that it is -2/-2 permanently, pretty much because of those counters. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And then we have Vortex Elemental, 0/1 for 1. And if we pay 1 blue, we put Vortex Elemental and each creature blocking or blocked by it on top of its owner's libraries, and then shuffle the library. And we can also pay 5 mana and target creature blocks Vortex Elemental this turn.
Yeah, so very simple. We're just going to keep this guy as a blocker. Our opponent's not going to want to attack with their best stuff because they're just going to pay a blue and then shuffle them both into our libraries. And then later on in the game, when we got 6 mana, we just attack with it and then force our opponent to block with their best thing, and then we're going to pay the extra blue, and then they're gone. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Then we have Diregraph Ghoul for 1. He's a 2/2, but he does enter tapped.
Exactly. I mean, a 2/2 for 1 is an extremely good deal. If you play this turn 1, that is sick. The fact that it can't block on the turn it comes in is too bad.
Yeah. Then we have Belkin Ghoul, 1/1 for 2, and when he becomes blocked, target player loses 4 life.
It's kind of unblockable because people don't really want to block this thing. I mean, they will kill it, but 4 damage is a lot. So they need to make the calculation. Is this thing going to be around for long enough that it's going to be dealing 4 points of damage? Can I exile it, for example, or kill it some other way, destroy it some other way? But in combat, they're not going to want to block it because they're going to lose a lot of life. Yeah.
Then we have Tide Holo Strix for 2 mana. He's a 2/1 flyer with Death Touch. Very,
very simple, but I think you like this card, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then we have White of Precinct 6. Precinct 6. For 2 mana, it's a 1/1. And it gets +1/+1 for each creature in opponent's graveyards.
Yeah, so of course we like to mill our opponents, and we like to kill our opponent's creatures. Yeah. They're all going into the graveyard, which means that Weight of Precinct 6 is going to be getting pretty big.
Yeah. And then we have Inkled Phantom Witch, 1/1 for 2 with Fear, which means it can be blocked by black creatures or by artifact creatures. And if we pay 4, each unblocked creature becomes a 4/1 until the end of turn.
That is pretty sick because our unblockable creatures are usually not too big, but with Inkled Phantom Witch, they will be dealing tons and tons of damage. And of course, it doesn't just need to be our unblockable creatures. It could just be a creature that they just chose not to block, or a creature with evasion or whatever.
Yeah. Then we have Dusk Mantle Guild Mage for 2. He's a 2/2, and if we pay 3, whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn, that player loses 1 life. And if we pay 4, Target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into the graveyard.
Yeah, I think 4 mana to mill those 2 cards is a bit steep. I don't think we're going to be using that very much. But the first one, I mean, when we were milling for other reasons, getting that extra point, those extra points of damage through for just 3 mana is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Then we have Parasitic Strix for 3 mana, a 2/2 flyer. And when he comes in, if you control a black permanent, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
I think already for 3 mana having a 2/2 flyer is a pretty good deal. It's pretty nice. It's going to be doing a lot of damage. And on top of that, the 4-point life swing is actually insane for what you're paying for this card. So that's going to be doing tons of work.
Yeah. Then we have Mortis Strider for 3. He's a 1/1. But when he dies, we get it back in our hand.
Yeah, we're going to have to recast it.
Yeah.
But it is pretty much, if we're mana flooded late in the game, we're going to be able to just chump block every single turn. We're not losing a card.
Then we have Death Cult Rogue, 2/2 for 3. And he can't be blocked. Well, he can be blocked by rogues.
But our opponent won't really have rogues. So essentially, he's
unblockable.
unblockable. Yeah, exactly. Pretty sweet. This is a great target for an enchantment we're going to be looking at later on.
Then we have Slate Street Ruffian, 2/2 for 3. And when he becomes blocked, the defending player discards a card.
Yeah. Do you think people are going to want to block this guy?
No.
Exactly. So it's essentially unblockable because people
pretty
really
much
don't want to discard a card.
No.
Except, of course, they have no cards in hand. But yeah, good.
Yeah. And then we have Jurubai Murk Lurker.
It just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jurubai Murk Lurker.
Murk Lurker. It's a 1/3 for 3.
Sounds like an insult in a language that we don't fully understand, right? You're such a Jurubai Murk Lurker. Oh man, I feel dirty just saying that. And it's a leech.
Okay.
That's apt.
Okay, well, it's a 1/3 for 3, and it gets +1/+1 as long as you control Swamp. And for 2, target creature gains a lifelink until the end of turn.
Yeah, it's probably always going to get that +1/+1 because we get tons of swamps in this. This is pretty much going to be a 2/4 for 3, which is really good. And additionally, you can use its ability on itself as well, not just on other creatures. Yeah. And you can do it as many times as you want. So if you got extra mana, this card is going to be gaining you tons and tons of life. And that's really, people don't really expect that in this deck.
And then we have Dimir Doppelganger, 0/2 for 3. And if we pay 3, exile target creature card from a graveyard. And then a Dimir Doppelganger becomes a copy of that card and gains this ability.
Yeah, so what's cool about this is you can put it down pretty early and then you can wait. Maybe there's nothing good in the graveyard, that's fine. You got your 0/2, you can block 1/1s. And then later on, when something juicy enters the graveyard, either because we've been milling or because we killed that fatty, then we can make sure that that card leaves the graveyard and then this guy becomes a copy. And then later on, can become a copy of something that's even juicier maybe later. So that's pretty sweet.
Then we have Amphan Pathmage, 3/2 for 4, and for 3, target creature can be blocked this turn.
Yeah, so you can use it on itself, you can use it on another big fatty.
Yeah. And then we have Blizzard Spectre for 4. He's a 2/3 flyer. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, the opponent can choose to return a permanent to his hand or discard a card.
Yeah, so we get to choose which one of those two our opponent has to do.
Yeah.
But either way, it's pretty sweet. I mean, obviously we're going to choose whatever is best, but they still get to choose what they discard. They still get to choose what they return. So, we both get to choose something.
Yeah. Then we have Windwind the Biting Gale, a 3/3 for 4, flying, and it has flash. And if you pay 1 life and 2 mana, you can return it to your hand.
Yeah, so what's really nice about this card is that it's 3/3 in the air, so it's going to be doing tons of damage and can, of course, kill a lot of flyers as well. Additionally, the flash means you're going to be able to cast at instant speed, which is going to be really nice for our opponent when they think, you don't have something, you can't block flyers, and then you can just play it.
That's going to be a surprise.
That's going to be a nasty surprise, and you can block at instant speed.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really difficult to remove or to kill outright, because as long as you got that 2 mana open and you're not at 1 life, you can pretty much make sure that any removal or any unsuccessful combat situation returns to your hand, and then you can just recast her again next turn.
Yeah. And then we have Evil Twin for 4. It's a 0/0, and we may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, and it has the ability pay 2, tap it, and destroy target creature with the same name.
That is sick. Not only do you have a copy of the best thing on the battlefield, Additionally, next turn when you can tap with it, you're going to be able to kill the copy of our opponent. Hopefully we will have made a copy.
So then you have it and the other one doesn't.
That is a nasty situation.
Yeah, okay, then we have Tyler Drake, 2/2 for 5, a flyer, and for 1 black we can regenerate it.
Very simple. I mean, you may think, okay, 5 mana, we're only getting a 2/2 flyer. I mean, we also got a 2/2 flyer for 3 before, but do not underestimate regenerate.
It keeps coming back.
Keeps it around for so long. This thing is almost impossible to kill, and the fact that it's regenerate for just 1 black mana, that is good. Other creatures have regenerate for 3 or for 4 or something like that. This is just for 1 black. That is very sick, and of course in the air, it's just going to be blocking everything.
Then we have Hunter of Nightvale, 3/4 for 5, and creatures your opponents control get -1/-0 permanently.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Just basically all those 1/1s are pretty useless at this point for our opponent. Yeah.
Then we have Archfiend of Depravity.
It's Fiend.
Archfiend of Depravity, 5/4 for 5, flyer. And at the beginning of each opponent's end step, the player chooses up to 2 cards, 2 creatures, and sacrifices the rest.
That is super nasty. I mean, come at me, token players, right? Just, nasty. And plus 5/4 in the air is nothing to sniff at. This is going to end the game fast.
Then we have Dinrova Horror, 4/4 for 6. And when he enters the battlefield, return target permanent to its owner's hand, and that player discards a card.
Yeah, so now we do get to do both.
Yeah.
And if they have no cards in hand, we're going to remove their best thing, and they're going to have to bring it to hand, and they're going to have to discard it. So that is super nasty. And we've got a 4/4 we can attack with.
Yeah.
Perfect. Those are the creatures. Let's have a look at the enchantments.
The first enchantment is Aqueous Form. For 1 mana, we can make a creature unblockable, and whenever it attacks, we get to scry 1.
Yeah, pretty sweet. I mean, not all of our creatures have unblockable or are unblockable, which means some of our big fatties. It's kind of nice to put this on there. And the scry 1's not too shabby either.
Yeah. The next enchantment we have is Soul Ransom. For 4 mana, we get to enchant a creature of an opponent, and then we control it. And then your opponent may choose to discard 2 cards. Then we sacrifice Soul Ransom, and
we draw 2 cards.
And we draw 2 cards.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty sweet. So we get to take something of our opponent, their big fatty. If they want it back, they got to lose 2 cards. We gain 2 cards. It's a pretty sweet deal as well.
Yeah. And the next one is Helm of the Ghast Lord. For 4 mana, we get to enchant a creature, and as long as that creature is blue, it gets +1/+1. Plus, whenever it deals damage to an opponent, we get to draw a card. And as long as it's black, it gets +1/+1. And whenever it deals damage to an opponent, the player discards a card.
Needless to say, we're going to want to put this on our blue and black creature. And on top of that, some of those are unblockable, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to be almost guaranteed to deal damage. It's going to be bigger, dealing more damage. We're going to be drawing cards. They're going to be losing cards. That is a great little distribution of resources that goes in our favor with Helm of the Ghast Lord. Pretty sweet. Those are the enchantments. Let's have a look at the artifacts.
The first artifact is Dimir Cluestone. For 3 mana, it gives us a blue or a black, and we can also decide to pay blue and black, tap it, sacrifice it, and then we get to draw a card.
Yeah, very simple. Mana acceleration, mana fixing. What's not to love?
The second artifact is the mierqi rune. For 3, it also gives us a blue or a black, and we can pay blue and black, and then it becomes a 2/2 blue and black horror artifact creature until the end of turn, and it gets unblockable.
Exactly. So unblockable means guaranteed damage pretty much, so always nice to have that. And of course, in our opponent's turn, we can also pay 2 as a surprise to use it as a surprise blocker should it be necessary.
Yeah. Okay, and the last one is Mask of Riddles. For a blue and a black. We can equip it onto a creature for 2, and it gives the creature fear, which means it can only be blocked by artifact creatures or by black creatures. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we get to draw a card.
Nice little resource advantage right there as well. Pretty sweet. All right, those are the artifacts. Let's have a look at the instants and sorceries.
The first instant is called Dimir Charm. And for 2 mana, we get to choose 1 out of 3 options. And the first one is counter target sorcery spell. The second one is destroy target creature with power 2 or less. And the third one is look at the top 3 cards of target player's library, and put one back and put the other one in his or her graveyard.
Yeah, exactly. Like all these other charms, their versatility is what makes them so useful. Either getting rid of their sorcery, getting rid of their utility creature, or making sure that they're going to get a crappy card later, or making sure that we get a good card. Those are all very sweet options.
Yeah. The second instant is called Far and Away, and we can play Far for 2 and return target creature to its owner's hand. Or we can play Away for 3 and then target player sacrifices a creature, or we can play both. And remember not to read this card sideways, because then your opponents know which card you're playing.
Absolutely. What's the next card?
The next instant is called Agony Work for 2 mana. Target creature gets -3/-0 until the end of turn. And target creature gets -0/-3 until the end of turn.
Yeah, this is actually important to know that we can use it as a straight up removal spell, give the creature -3/-3,
Yeah.
but it's also a pretty decent combat trick that when people attack with 2 creatures, we can make sure one of them doesn't deal any damage, we can double block, triple block, and that the other creature's toughness goes so low that they die, so we don't have to block it that way. With one card, we can actually kill 2 creatures. Pretty sweet.
The next instant is called Psychic Strike, and for 3 mana, we get to counter target spell, and the opponent mills 2 cards.
Yeah, very basic. Stop them from doing whatever might win them the game. And the extra mill is just something that this deck kind of likes, because we like to take stuff from our opponents' graveyards anyway.
Yep. Okay, the next instant is called Ghoulish Spectacle for 4 mana. We get to destroy target non-artifact creature, and its controller mills cards equal to that creature's power.
Yeah, exactly. Very simple. Most important part is just it's an instant removal spell. Kills our opponent's big baddies.
Okay, the first sorcery is called Call of the Nightwing, and for 4 mana, we get to put a 1/1 blue and black horror creature token with flying onto the battlefield, and we get to cipher it on a creature.
Yeah, very simple. So we're basically going to be playing this. We get a 1/1 flyer. Then we're going to encode it onto one of our unblockable creatures. Most likely, we're going to attack with it that turn, and we're going to get another one. So in that first turn, we're going to get 2 little flyers. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. And the next sorcery is called Extract from Darkness, and for 5 mana, each player mills 2 cards, and then we get to choose a creature from an opponent's graveyard or our own graveyard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that's pretty sweet. I mean, once again, the milling is nice. We like to mill all the time. We like to mill our opponent. We like to mill ourselves as well. Point is, as soon as there's something really big, fat, and nice, we're going to be taking that and putting it back onto the battlefield under our control.
Yeah. Then we have Undercity Plague for 6 mana. Target player loses 1 life, discards a card, and then sacrifice a permanent, and we get to cipher it onto a creature.
Yeah, so essentially if we got an unblockable creature or a creature with flying, they don't have any flyers or creatures with reach, we're going to be having our opponent lose 2 life, discard 2 cards, and sacrifice 2 permanents. That is going to win us the game super, super fast. Those are the instants. Now let's go on to the lands. We
divide the lands into 9 islands, 9 swamps, and 4 guild gates, which gives us the perfect mana distribution.
Exactly. Nothing more to add to that, so let's go straight on to the conclusion.
In conclusion, this deck is a lot of fun because we get to make our opponents discard cards and we get to steal their creatures.
Exactly. I really love it because it seems quite innocuous. You have very small creatures to begin with, but we're going to, as Lisa already said, we're going to take their stuff. We're going to have some big stuff later on. So we got some flyers, we got some unblockable things. We have some really sneaky artifacts and enchantments, which makes it that our unblockable creatures are even more efficient. I really love that about it. You can check out the deck list below, and it's also quite affordable, right?
Yeah, it comes in below $12.
Exactly. So now join us so we can have discussion about all these duel decks on Facebook, and you can also join us on Twitter at Budget MTG Decks. Also subscribe to this channel for the most powerful decks and advice everyone can afford. Thanks for watching. I'm David.
And I'm Lisa.
And this was Budget MTG Decks.